Police Commission meeting has come to order. Can you please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you remain standing, we're going to have a moment of silence. It's Police Week, and to honor those officers that gave the supreme sacrifice. Okay, thank you. I'm just going to read this real quick. Each year, the week of May 15th is designated as National Police Week. During this week of remembrance, we pause to honor the memory of our brother and sister officers who have lost their lives in the service of the communities they love so very much. It's also time to reflect upon the impact of such loss on the officer's family, comrades, and entire community. During this special week of remembrance, let's all take time to honor the memory of our officers across the nation who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Commissioner, how are you?
Okay. Approval of minutes of the regular meeting of April 13th, 2022. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
Or I could just put you on speaker and
Second.
listen. Second.
Second, Mr. Minute. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? No.
That's fine too.
Okay. Minutes are approved.
Okay, you're
Traffic surveys. Secretary?
Traffic surveys, TS location number 1, North Pine Creek Road between the Hedison Road and Bradley Street. The nature of request is to request increased enforcement, specifically during school pickup drop-off hours. Trimming of brush on North Pine Creek Road, heading south, that may be impairing sign straight lines or sight lines. Install temporary speed monitors on North Pine Creek Road. Paint stop on the road using thermoplastic marking paint. In addition to repainting the 4 stop lines, weather permitting, and consider painting stop-controlled marked crosswalks to alert drivers to a crossing location. By whom? Mr. Michael Taylor. Recommendations: repaint stop bar line for southbound traffic on North Pine Creek Road by William Hurley, Town Engineer. Suggested adding a red reflective post cover, also known as a post delineator, to each existing stop sign post to further enhance each stop sign for both northbound and southbound stop signs on North Pine Creek Road. Deny thermal painted stop on the road.
Okay, anybody from the commission have any comments? No, go ahead.
I have a comment. I travel that road all the time, and it's a tight road. And I think there's a lot of, Hedison Road is an extremely busy road. And I think something should be done, and I think I concur with the engineer, town engineer, but something should be done to enhance the safety of the area, especially for the children numerous children that reside in that area.
Okay. Anybody else from the commission? Anybody from the public like to speak? Hearing none.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? None? Okay, motion passed.
TS number 2 location, Villa Avenue at Lewis Drive. Nature of request to install 2 stop signs on Villa Avenue at Lewis Drive. Eastbound stop sign in front of Teddy Bear Corner, 273 Village Avenue, and west. By whom? Amy Barrett and Richard Dix. Recommendations: install a MUTCD approved horizontal alignment warning signs depicted below, W1-10E on Villa Avenue, west of Nichols Avenue, and on Villa Avenue, east of Lewis Drive, to warn traffic of blind intersections.
Okay, anybody from the commission?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
I went down there and I could tell on Nichols Avenue coming out, it's blind. You can't really see when the cars are coming around the corner on Villa. So I'll support whatever we can do.
Okay, so those are the way to put the signs up, I guess, to warn as a blind street coming, Nichols Street, right? Nichols Drive or Nichols Street?
And it's Nichols,
Out there?
Nichols Avenue.
Nichols, okay. Anybody else from the commission? Anybody from the public like to speak? Okay, can you come up one at a time and, state your name and where you live? Right there at the podium.
I have something to hand out.
Oh, sure.
If that's okay?
Sure, that's fine. What is your name?
I don't have enough for everyone in the room.
It's okay. We can share. Ma'am, your name and address, please?
My name is Janine Pikowski, 79 Lewis Drive.
Can you just spell the last name, just so it's on the
Absolutely,
record?
yeah.
Thank you.
P-O-C-O-S-K-I.
Is Janine?
Janine, J-E-A-N-I-N-E. Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to be here and to speak. Police officers, thank you for your service. And I'm coming to you with a brief presentation. Don't worry, it's brief. And it's with data supporting our recommendation for stop signs. Our neighbors, we feel that there need to be changes on Villa. It is not a safe street. Our recommendations are based on two positive points. First of all, the Melville stop signs, they work. The crosswalk, it works. A couple of years ago, there was a pavement project on Villa, and it put a little dip in the road, and the road was exponentially safer just because of that little dip. The negative, we have countless accidents. There's speeding, the daily stress of living off of Lewis, and for those living on it, pulling out of the driveways, pulling out of Lewis. There's no safe way to cross the street from Melville all the way to Brooklawn. There's a 0.366-mile range of no crosswalk. There are neighbors who are walking to the city bus stop. There are children, there are neighbors walking dogs, riding bikes. But our number one reason here, and as a mother of three, is because it's not a safe place for our children. There is an extremely high volume of children living in this neighborhood. They are walking to Ward for high school. They are walking to the park. They are walking around the neighborhood. They are biking. And now, because of the beautiful new playground being put in on Melville, the appeal is that much more. The K-8 bus stop, on this side, you can see there is a graphic with yellow and red dots and just a very small stretch between Lewis and a little bit of Villa. And you can see that those are all bus stops, and those little POWs, those are where accidents have occurred. In fact, there's one kiddo who, he crosses the road to wait on the right side of the road for the bus in the morning. He's not using a crosswalk. He's literally taking his life into his own hands. If you turn over, so the proposed recommendation is to install the MUTCD approved horizontal sign in replacement of the signs that you see there. That's leaning pretty heavily right now. And so as a doctoral student engaging in her dissertation, I wanted to get some data for you all. And I took to Facebook, where else? Moms of Fairfield, always very helpful, and asked, what would you know as a driver, as a seasoned driver, what to do with this sign? And I was shocked. 698 people responded. I took out all their relevant responses. I took out 19 people who said yes, and we were left with 651 people who said they wouldn't really know how to respond to that sign. We also wanted to present to you additional data around the volume of cars coming down this road, in addition to the observations that you conducted. Between 7 and 8, 504 westbound cars are traveling 210, and between 5 and 6, 456 westbound on May 9th, and 920 eastbound. And I can tell you, trying to walk to the playground after dinner or before dinner, it's dangerous. So we're coming to you with a plea from our neighborhood to please help make this safer, to please consider recommendations like stop signs, a crosswalk, fog lines, or a walk audit to help us identify what we can do within the programs we have to make this a complete street. Thank you for your time.
Hey, we have any questions for Janine? Is it?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Lieutenant Irizarry, who's our traffic guy, you want to comment, please?
Sure.
I agree with Commissioner Lebo. Coming out of Nickel Street was a little bit of a challenge for us the day of the site survey. I'd like to also note that that was done during the morning hours. Lewis Drive, coming out of Lewis Drive, will be more of a challenge in the afternoon because all the traffic is going in the opposite direction. The town engineer recommended a sign stating that there is a blind intersection on both sides of the street, one pertaining to Lewis and one pertaining to Nichols. How much of an impact that's going to have, I'm not quite certain. We just put up our Black Hat system today, and we'll start recording speed and volume on Friday. Outside of that, not quite sure what else to offer.
You want to explain what a Black Hat is for the
The Black Hat system is a system that's designed to give us information regarding speed and volume of traffic throughout the day. We usually do it for a 7-day period, and it'll break it down per day.
Here we put this out. Yeah.
And where was that installed?
On Villa Avenue, it's right around the intersection of Lewis Drive.
What that does is it gives us metrics to allow us to know when it's the best time to deploy our resources. So like if we're getting 500 cars an hour between 7 and 8 a.m. during traffic, which we all can assume, but this gives us objective data that we can go off of to deploy our resources at the times where they're most needed.
Anybody else in the public want to speak on this?
I mean, I don't know how
That's. Hi, your name and address?
Sure. Amy Barrett, 306 Villa Avenue.
306?
Yes. And for the record, Janine and I worked closely. Mr. Dix and I were the ones that did our little unofficial traffic count to provide her with that data. But in addition to all the reasons that Janine was mentioning, I think the biggest point is that people are unsure what to do with that sign, right? And a picture of the actual sign that's being proposed wasn't included in the email that I received. It indicates that it was there, but it wasn't there. So when I Googled what that sign actually looks like, it's really not materially different than what's already there, which we believe is ineffective. When I submitted the original traffic survey, I referenced an accident that happened on February 5th. On February 5th, a gentleman was traveling westbound on Villa Avenue. I can't remember the officer's name, the responding officer's name, but when he came to speak to us, he estimated that this gentleman was traveling in excess of 80 miles an hour. He lost control of his car. He hit the tree in my neighbor's yard, which then propelled him into my front yard at 7:30 in the morning. He then took off going back eastbound on Villa Avenue, lost control of the car again, and hit another car. I'm normally walking my dogs at 7:30 in the morning. Like, that could have been me instead of that tree. The car he hit has car seats in it. There could have been a child in there. And that could have happened at any day of the week. It happened to be Saturday, but if that had been on a Monday through Friday, there's a daycare at Teddy Bear Corner. I mean, it could have been, instead of just property damage and the driver of the car getting 16 stitches, it really could have been significantly worse. We strongly feel that a stop sign, there's a sign that says slow curve heading westbound, and that was completely ineffective for this driver. If there was a stop sign, he might not have come to a full stop, but he certainly wouldn't have been able to hit the tree, on my property line at 80 miles an hour, which is why we strongly feel that the stop sign is a more appropriate solution instead of, another sign indicating that there's a curve.
Do you think this guy going 80 miles an hour would have stopped at that stop sign?
Maybe not completely, but...
I mean, my point is that we can't, there are circumstances that are really so out of our control.
That is true. However, given the nature or the general volume on Villa Avenue, which I think everyone agrees is at all hours, almost all hours of the day, is somewhat, busy, there would have been other cars stopped. He would have had to have slowed down.
I understand. Let me just comment that further. So we did pull the accident report on that, and he was charged with reckless operation. And I think I agree with Commissioner Amber. That particular driver, you could have all the signs in the world, he's just out of control. And he was cited earlier with, doing donuts. I mean, he's just a,
Yes, well,
I don't
yeah,
wanna.
and he didn't show up for his court date. He clearly is just
Yeah,
someone
so-
who does
so,
not
I
have
mean,
any
So
respect
that,
for our
that
traffic
example
law.
of having that driver to hit your fence, I think probably is an anomaly because he wouldn't obey any traffic sign.
That is true. However, I have lived in 306 Villa Avenue for over 20 years. 318 Villa Avenue used to have concrete posts in the front because Jack Coulthard, the gentleman who used to own the building, got sick of getting calls in the middle of the night of people in front of his building. I've seen the fire hydrant on Nichols be hit. I've seen 296 be hit. A couple of years ago, there was a drunk, I didn't see the traffic report, but a driver lost control in the middle of the night and hit the curb and ended up in my front yard. Janine can attest to how many times the telephone pole at Lewis has been hit. I've seen an accident, numerous accidents traveling eastbound, people hitting the stone wall. A few years ago, I remember specifically a Tundra came westbound and hit the stone wall at 297 Villa Avenue. And, and I know all these things are happening because I can recognize the sound of an airbag being deployed and it wakes me up. I mean, that's how many accidents have been there. And these are all single-car accidents that result in someone leaving the road, right? That, yes, there have been a couple of accidents recently where people have been rear-ended trying to pull in their driveway. That happened to my neighbor about a month ago. But because no one's really slowing down enough, they're leaving the road. And, it's just a matter of time before someone on the sidewalk, there's more than just property damage.
I think there's some safety concerns, and as you know, Lieutenant said, they're gonna start studying that. They have selective enforcement there, which is we have police in the area. I was also in that area on the survey. And, coming westbound on Villa, Lewis Street, okay, if there was a stop sign there, it's so far before Nichols that they're gonna accelerate, and they're not, my issue is that blind street, Nichols. Okay.
Well, that's why
Because if there's a stop sign there, they're gonna accelerate. It's a commuting area, unfortunately, and the traffic volume is great, and there's not much we can do about that. People can use that from Bridgeport to, there's no way really to stop them from traveling on a public road, but it is a lot of traffic. But, I'm just saying this, a stop sign at Lewis Street is not gonna stop people from, first of all, they'd have to stop at the stop sign, but then they're gonna accelerate, and they're not gonna realize that Nichols is there, and that's really a blind street. My feeling is I think we should continue to study this. I'm glad you brought it to our attention. They got the black cat in place, and I think we should revisit it next meeting. That's just my personal opinion, so I don't know what the rest of the commission feels.
Can I just make one more?
Yes.
Just, I can see your point with the westbound traffic, as it relates to Nichols. However, if we had a stop sign, there would at least be a crosswalk. As a big walker in the area, right, I can't say from 252, I think it is, or 264, there's no sidewalk, right? So I actually have to go up to Melville to try to cross the street if I want to go to the Brooklawn area to walk my dogs, right? I can't tell you how many times, literally walking my dogs is taking my life in my hands because there's no safe place to cross. And if we had a stop sign there, that would provide a crosswalk. And again, right, that you have to get people to stop, which is a completely different situation or issue. But, I see this young child crossing the street every day at 7:10 in the morning to get to the bus stop that's at the corner of Teddy Bear and Lewis. And every day I say a little prayer when I see him, because I'm coming home from the gym at that time, that someone doesn't fly around the corner and hit him. My daughter's almost been hit, which is why I had her bus stop moved.
What is your address on Villa Avenue?
I'm 306.
306.
All right, well, I think we've got, Lieutenant Irizarry is gonna study this further. He's got the black cat. We're gonna look at this a little more closely and, consider your stop sign and crosswalk, but I've got to have the town engineer sign off on this, and I want the police to, recommend that. So at this point, you have the other signs up. Hopefully, they have some selective enforcement area. The traffic unit's going to be there and hopefully slow some traffic down. As far as the volume of traffic goes, I don't know how we can stop people from using that as a commuting route, but I know he Lieutenant is very good about, enforcing the law over there, so, we're gonna take another look at that, if you don't mind, and, by next meeting, we should have a decision. How's that sound?
And the request is to add a crosswalk as well.
And a stop sign, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean, I guess maybe that was my mistake. I thought a crosswalk just came with a stop sign. So, yes.
okay.
All right, so, I'm gonna make a motion that we table this for now, until next meeting, until we get the, data from Lieutenant Irizarry and the Black Cat. You know, technology is great, so they can really determine, and if that's the case, then we'll approve it.
And for the reconsideration, we should include adding, looking at adding
Crosswalk, yeah.
further as well.
Exactly.
And stop sign.
Oh,
Okay, I'm sorry, can I
Sure,
I know we're running short on time, but,
there's a motion.
we also felt like
No one makes them.
lines would also be, a way to have, the narrow division of the street, which naturally slows drivers down, so the recommendation.
Why don't, we could just take a look at best practices.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Irizarry will take a look with the engineer and whatever proposals the engineer.
Exactly.
Okay, wonderful. And just clarifying question, so the recommendations would be made before next meeting or at the meeting?
At the meeting, we'll vote on the recommendations.
Okay.
Right now, so we're gonna table this.
So they'd be made before.
All right, yes.
They'd be on the next traffic
They'll be on
survey.
the recommendations from the town engineer and the police department will be on the next agenda, the traffic study.
Okay, wonderful.
All right, that's the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Well, thank you for showing up anyhow, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Traffic study number 3, location Old Post Road up to Congress Street and back, new bike route. Nature request to create a new bike route and connect a couple of the existing bike routes already established. It is the Bike/Pedestrian Committee's belief that we need to continue to add routes throughout Fairfield to continue to promote share the road and encourage cars and bikers and pedestrians to respect each other. Please see attached sheet for road routes. By whom? Karen Seacrest, member of the Bike Pedestrian Committee. Recommendations need to discuss further.
Okay, so we have do we have a route lined out? I didn't see it.
The map
For the bike, the bike route?
There was no,
Okay,
Map.
so, we don't really know what,
Can I?
we'll get,
well,
one second.
during public
Yeah,
discussion,
we'll
we
get,
can.
hold on.
So he will call public discussion and then
Yeah,
you can come.
so right now we're discussing at the commission, and then we'll go to public, okay? Just hang tight. Okay,
So we don't have the route.
so, yeah,
I don't see it here.
okay, so,
I don't have any.
okay, so the idea is, which is a good idea,
Oh, wait, here it is.
you do have the route? All right, so there's a letter from, Mark Bernhardt, and, he supports, this route, or the establishment of a route, but there's no real route at this point. Yes?
On the last page of the traffic study, if anybody's got it with them, the route is laid out.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Starts at the YMCA.
Oh, I got you, okay. The very last page. Wow.
It's in, it was written out, it's not an actual.
Okay, so the last page of your packet has the,
Of the traffic study.
yeah, is this the entire route? Or is it just, okay. All right, we have the route, I think. I guess, I'm gonna have the public talk, because you guys are gonna present, right? That might help. All right, from the public, come on up.
Hello, my name is Nate Rex. I am a member of the Town of Fairfield Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. I live at 365 Cross Highway.
Okay.
And it sounds like you guys need a little bit more time to digest the route before you make a judgment.
I think a map would be good.
Okay, I provided one to Karen, it looks like it didn't get attached to the packet.
No.
So I do have a written route here, but if you need a map, I can provide a map. I don't have one. I have a digital copy of it on my phone, but I don't have a printed copy of it.
Yeah, a map would be helpful because you're talking about quite a few streets, so
Okay,
trying to
fair
get
enough.
a picture in our mind here, you know.
Fair enough.
Okay, so I think, like I say, Mr. Barnhart is in favor, and I think the town engineer is in favor. It's just, we need a little more detail.
As is Mr. Cleary from the health department as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, the route actually builds upon the proposed routes and the pedestrian master plan that was sort of voted on by the town of Fairfield, endorsed in June of 2013. So a lot of the roads that are on here are actually on this route already. So, but I can provide the committee a detailed map if that makes sense.
It would be helpful also if you contact some of the stakeholders, in other words, people whose property, you know, some people along the road there, they might not want a bicycle route, so get their feedback, you know.
Okay.
As far as, you know, stakeholders, like, you know, I mean, like a survey.
Well, cost, too.
What?
What's the cost?
The cost, I guess, is, you know, financials.
From my understanding, the health department has a block grant to utilize for the marking of the route itself on the roads.
Okay.
So, and these roads they're country roads for the predominantly country roads. So it should, we can certainly ask around. So
When they mark the routes, will they lay out a specific bicycle lane on the route so that the drivers are wary of?
So that's a good question. I don't think so. I think most of the roads are too narrow to have a traffic lane and a dedicated bike route. Bronson Road maybe being the exception of that. It is wide enough at the lower portion of Bronson to accommodate that, and something that we've worked with Mr. Hurley on and trying to see if that's something that we could eventually do. But for the majority of the road, Sturgis Highway, Merwin's Lane, those roads are narrower, too narrow to accommodate both a traffic lane and a fog line bike lane.
So you're talking like putting signs up that saying bike route? Or?
Yes, that would be the majority of it would be bike route with, in more congested areas, I would envision having the Charos painted on the road, but it wouldn't be as ubiquitous as we might have on the Pequot or the pre-existing routes that we already have there in much more heavily trafficked and more dense areas.
I think it's a good idea, it's just that we just need more detail.
Okay.
So, you know, as far as a map would go.
I'm sorry about that, again.
That's all right.
It's included in
happens.
the...
I mean, you do have it in the last page, like Commissioner Stone pointed out, but it's tough to visualize when you have like, you know, 30 different streets, you know.
If I can make a suggestion, if you can come up with an operational plan so that, you know, you're requesting to the commission that they put together this route and indicate where the signs would go, attached to what sign poles, if any, like where the addresses they will be in front of. You talked about Charos or line paint, roadway markings, where those would go specifically, because the commission goes out and they're going to have to drive the route.
Truth be told, this was sprung on us last minute. When we've done this in the past, we've had a more collaborative effort with the traffic division. In fact, last time when we did the Lake to Beach route in 2018, I took a picture of all the signs that were pre-existing, and that was all included in the packet for you. So we went from a request to being on the agenda with none of the back and forth that we'd had in the past. So we just need to make sure that our committee is communicating with everybody here, so that we're all on the same page and we can get you the information that you need so you can have a better chance of actually going out and looking at this and surveying this potential route.
Yes.
So if we postpone this, we'll have to, because you probably can't put all that together in a couple of weeks, right? Probably need more.
I could. I could potentially have this on the for the calendar. When is your next meeting in June?
June 8th, but the survey is done before that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, when's the next survey date?
It'll be at the end of May.
And it's nice.
So that's not a lot of, well, if you can get it ready
yeah,
in time, then we can do it in June, otherwise we'll do it in July.
Okay.
You said you're the bike, pedestrian committee?
Bike and pedestrian committee, yes. So Sarah Roy, who's
Oh,
the
Sarah Roy.
chair.
Let me,
is on this as well.
tell you that, I like the fact that you, in your latest letter, you put in, tips for, pedestrians as far as walking against traffic and all that, public safety things.
Oh, thank you.
I thought that was pretty good,
Yeah, we have, one of our committee members, should I get up and say who I am?
Sure, yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Mr. Rex, just think like when we would submit that to DPW for the work order, they need to know what to do, where to put it.
So we did that last time, and again, this was, like I said, we just happened to see that this was on the agenda for today. And so we're sort of here actually honestly asking for more time because we haven't prepared that information.
Okay.
So,
Maybe we should just table it till July, because I don't think you're gonna be able to get it done in time and meet the next, meeting, but I'll leave that.
All right, well, let's hear from Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah.
Thank you. Sure.
If you could just, your name and your address.
Yeah, just one second. Hi, everyone, I'm Sarah Roy. I live at 3 Buena Vista Road, and as Nate mentioned, I am a member of the Bike and Pedestrian Committee, and I'm also currently the chair of the Bike and Pedestrian Committee. So yes, I'm here supporting Nate. This is an initiative we've been working on since last fall to increase the number of bike routes in our community, to encourage biking as an alternative means of transportation, not just for recreation. And so I wanted to speak to Chairman Pine's comment about our safety tips, and I appreciate that you like them. Our member, Scott Craighead, actually wrote that up about a year ago, and it's a safety tips document that's for drivers, people walking, and people biking, because we all have a responsibility to behave appropriately on the road, not just people walking and biking, because with the greater power comes greater responsibility, and no one has greater power than, when you're behind a 2 or 3 ton vehicle. So they have to play their part as well. So thank you. I appreciate that you appreciate it.
We do read your letters.
I'm so glad you do. Right.
Thank you.
I ride a bike and I'm also a walker.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate all the time and effort that both of you and your committee have put together for the public.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to say also that if you're not aware or if it's been a while since it's been discussed, our charge as a committee is to work with the town departments to implement the Fairfield Bike and Pedestrian Master Plan, which is almost 10 years old. It was endorsed by the Board of Select People in 2013, but so it's probably in need of update at some point soon, but much has been accomplished with that, particularly with starting these bike route initiatives, but much still remains to be done. And so that is our charge, is to work in collaboration with everyone in the town that has decision-making authority to push forward to make our streets more comfortable for people walking, biking, and driving, because when you make a road more comfortable for people on foot or on bike, you're also making it more comfortable for people driving, because there's better communication between the different modes of transportation. And it also provides traffic calming when there's greater human activity.
Super.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh, Sue, yes.
I would just like to add that from a safety standpoint, it's not just the cars, it's the bicycles as well. And there are numerous situations where bikers do not stop at stop signs as they're supposed to do. I live off of Mill Plain Road. I've seen bikers 3 and 4 abreast go down Mill Plain Road. Only one bike is in the lane. The rest of it is blocking the road. And they don't move. And so there's got to be a two-way street here in terms of understanding.
Yeah, I mean, respectfully, I would offer to you that it's actually the road design that is creating a lot of the issues, because our road designs are very car-centric. And there's a cultural attitudinal shift away from car dominance on our streets. And people want, the younger generations, people who are 16 years old, they are getting their licenses at a much slower rate. They're either waiting till they're 18 so they don't have to go through the test, or they don't want to get them at all because they're recognizing the problems that vehicle dependence are creating for them in terms of like financial problems, social issues. They want to be active. They want to be able to get from point A to point B by foot or by bike, but we have to create the conditions that make them feel safe doing that. So our roads, people will drive to the speed that the road is engineered. And when the road is wide, and turning radii are wide, it provides people with a false sense of security that it's okay to go faster than whatever the posted speed limit is. It really is an intuitive behavior driving, and I do it myself even though I'm a road safety advocate. If I get caught up in a song and I'm like, oh, it's a good song while I'm driving, I'll look down and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going over 30 miles in a 25 mile per hour zone because I'm lulled by the sense of security that the wider lanes and the car-dominated design of the road provides. And so if we really want to make a difference in driver behavior, we have to change the road design. And it doesn't have to be an expensive hardscape treatment to have an impact, like tightening up curbs with concrete and that kind of thing. There are bollards, there are asphalt art programs all over the country, which studies have shown can reduce speeds and to reduce traffic collisions by up to 50%. So there are cheaper, quick ways to calm traffic and encourage drivers to go at slower speeds, which thereby makes it more comfortable for people to ride their bikes and to walk, and therefore incentivize them to do that more. Like I live at Buena Vista Road, and so it's about a 2-mile distance for me to go to Black Rock Turnpike, and I don't have a problem riding my bike doing that, but I know a lot of my neighbors won't because they don't feel safe. But if we created the conditions that would make them feel safe to ride their bike there, we could reduce the number of cars, people feeling like they had to take a trip in their car to go to CVS on a beautiful day like today, where they might actually rather ride their bike if they felt safe to do so.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion that we postpone this to the July meeting.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Abstentions? None? Okay, so July meeting, you'll be ready by then? Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, old business. Any old business? All right. No, new business, we have donations. There you go, Commissioner.
A donation to animal control of $5 cash from Chelsea Bassler of 294 Fairview Avenue in Fairfield, as a donation for all that is done at the Fairfield Animal Control Shelter. A donation of $5 cash from Sarah Keller, 100 Vermont Avenue, Fairfield, as a donation for all that's done at the Fairfield Animal Shelter. And $10 cash from Jeff Robinson of 4 Laura Lane in Wallingford as a donation and thank you for having just adopted a dog from the Fairfield Animal Control Shelter. And these are the donations.
Okay, we have a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Abstentions? None. Okay. Monthly report. Anybody have anything on the monthly report? Just like to note that traffic unit, 140 tickets for distracted driving. Excellent.
Yep.
And keep up the good work.
She got your electric bike.
Oh, electric bikes, yeah.
So far, so good. We got to get some officers trained. It's a little bit different on the training, so we get the officers trained on them, but they're currently using.
They're gonna
Are they
try
being
to
used
go
now?
after the motorcycles.
I don't know about that.
Were these particular bikes donated, or could they gotten any other bikes?
No, we purchased these. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, the brand, how many of you ride that brand?
They have Recon has a police model, and when we looked at, when we looked at that, they were the best model that we identified, yeah.
Perfect, I think they're gonna love them.
Chief, how many motorcycles do we have now?
We currently have 5 motorcycles. We have 3 riders. So we're actually, Detective Vespaziano, who's kind of like the quasi-leader, he and Sergeant Mastronardi, they're putting together a proposal to rejuvenate the program again. So we spoke the other day on it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, anybody else have anything on the monthly report? No, hearing none? Okay, Chief, anything else you want to say about the monthly report?
No, I mean, it's all there. I know, Deputy Chief Broderick, goes through it every month. We're trying to find a little bit of a different format, I think, to make it a little bit, cleaner and easier to work with. So at some point, we may change it up, but we'll let you know in advance when we do that, just to make it a little bit easier to read, especially on the statistical part, where it's like 10 pages of just data.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, trying to extract maybe 20 calls that are really important to us, the noise ordinance, stuff that really affects what you do and how you do it with our policies and procedures, not just data that means nothing to anybody. Dead animals picked up. It doesn't really matter if it's 3 or 2, right? So there's a lot of useless data in there. I'm sure you scroll through really quickly, a lot of zeros. So I'm thinking, I was talking to the chief about it, thinking really, 20, 30 calls, see if the next gen could do a report, and instead of manually entering everything, just export a report every month and make it a little less labor intensive.
How are we doing in town? Do we have any major issues or just?
So, I think that would go along the conversation that we may talk about in, personnel is one of our issues, and I'd probably prefer to talk about that in executive session since we're going there.
Okay.
Okay, anything else, guys? Commissioners, should say? Okay, so, need a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, 5:12 PM,
5:12.
executive session. Let's go shut the public session. All right, do we have to make a motion to accept his?
I'll make a motion that we extend a conditional offer to applicant Michael
Shaw.
Shaw.
I think it's pronounced Shaw.
Shaw.
Yeah, okay.
However it's pronounced.
Okay,
Yeah.
second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. Congratulations, Michael Shaw.
I got noise in this phone.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'll speak up.
Make a motion, anybody?
I move to adjourn.
Any questions, Commissioner?
Second?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All in
Okay,
favor?
thank you.
Aye. Opposed?
Bye-bye.
We are adjourned.
Adjourned at 5:55.